The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas is an insightful novel that sheds light on the racial tensions that exist in America. The main character, Star, is a 16-year-old girl who lives in a poor black community called Garden Heights. Her neighborhood is the battleground for two feuding gangs, which is the result of an abundance of gun violence right at home. Star's parents, Maverick and Lisa, and her uncle, Carlos, work really hard to send Star and her two brothers to the prep school in the white suburb about 40 minutes from Garden Heights. One night, while she and her friend Khalil are driving home from a party, a white police officer pulls them over and Khalil is shot. The remainder of the book follows how Khalil's death is justified or not, but you will have to read the book to find that out. Right off the bat, Thomas addresses the racial divide in America. She creates a location that has two extremely separate neighborhoods. The suburb where Star's Uncle Carlos lives is a generally white community. Quote, all the houses have 2 stories, end quote, and it is characterized as being very peaceful and inviting. However, the Garden is a generally black community, and given the conflict between gangs and additional riots that start taking place to encourage justice for Khalil, Starr describes it as a, quote, war zone, end quote. Thomas creates 2 environments that reflect how separate America still looks today because of class and race inequality. Thomas's giant statement comes out of the title itself. In one scene of the book, Maverick explains to Starr that the rapper Tupac turned thug life into an acronym. He said it stands for, The Hate You Give Little Infants F's Everyone. Star tells her dad that Khalil told her this means, quote, it's about what society feeds youth and about how it comes back and bites them later, end quote. But Star continues and explains that she thinks thug life is a system that works against all minorities because of their lack of opportunities. By bringing this up in her book, Thomas addresses a classical divide between majority and minority populations. Thomas was very creative with the way she decided to write The Hate You Give. By writing Star's perspective in the first person, she can directly tell readers how Star is feeling and why she is feeling that way. Through this, we can learn about Star's personality. When Star is playing a pickup game of basketball with her friends, one of them, Haley, speaks up and says, hustle, pretend the ball is some fried chicken, bet you'll stay on it then. Star is completely thrown off by the comment and describes the moment in her head. The world surges forward without me. I hold the ball and stare at Haley as she jogs away. I can't believe what she just said. She couldn't have. No way. The ball fouls out of my hands. I walk off the court. End quote. If Thomas had not written in the first person, it would have been much harder to show readers how upset Star was feeling. Furthermore, this technique made it very easy for Thomas to make an empathetic connection between her audience and Star. Also, Thomas purposely changes Star's language when she's talking with her friends at school and her friends in Garden Heights. With her friends Haley and Maya and her boyfriend Chris, Star has to flip, quote, the switch in my brain so I'm Williams and Star. Williams and Star doesn't use slang. Slang makes her hood, end quote. But in the Garden, all of that goes out the door and she speaks however she wants to. However, toward the end of the book, Thomas begins to purposely blend Star's 2 ways of speaking together. At one point in the story, Star's brother has a birthday barbecue and all of Star's friends from Garden Heights are invited. Chris and Maya also come. Eventually, she finds comfort in being herself around both crowds and blends her 2 speaking styles together. Through this technique, Thomas is able to show her audience how much Star develops through the story. I would argue this book deserves 4 of Maverick's roses. This flower is a symbol in the book that represents Star's family. Maverick is constantly doing his best to care for his roses, but sometimes they don't grow. This relates to how Maverick does his best to support his family, but sometimes, despite his best efforts, he can't control the bad things that happen to them. This book was never boring. So many different events were always going on. Even though the plot revolves around Khalil's case, Star is involved with more drama with tons of other characters. But what really kept me reading was the desire to know whether the police officer who shot Khalil would be arrested or not. I highly recommend this book.